Well, I went to High School Pharmacy and I found this awesome striped fabric. Hot pink, gold, yellow, black, nice contrast, and I thought this would make an awesome apron or skirt for my granddaughter Reese. So I looked around and I found this hot pink, and I thought this would make a really neat bodice. And then I kind of thought, ooh, some ruching around the neckline, some hardware, some beautiful bright lacing. Ooh, that sounds like fun. And then I thought black, maybe double fold bias tape here on the edge. Boy, I got excited. I couldn't wait to get home and start sewing. So I went home and I thought, oh, I forgot. I've got to pre-shrink it first. So you got to remember to pre-shrink. Stick it in the wash machine, run it through the dryer, or hang it dry, whatever you normally would do to wash this garment. If you don't, you could be really disappointed when you have your dress all done. It fits perfect, and you wash it, it doesn't fit at all. And there might be some fussy fabrics you might pick up that are silky or shears, and you might have to do something special, so follow the manufacturer's instructions, otherwise you could get messed up. Now, if you should happen to notice that there is a crease that's going to be right in the middle of the bodice and you can't get it out, you might want to try this. This is a pressing cloth, and it's chemically treated to press in pleats or seams or to take them out. So you could probably try something like this. It's a good deal. Also, if you wanted to know just what to do with the particular fabric you have, how to get it ready, I bought this Singer Complete Photo Guide to Sewing. It's awesome. There's pictures on every page of how to do everything you could possibly need to know, including shrinking your fabric, to prepare it to sew, how to alter your patterns. I can even tell you just everything you could need. This was a really good bargain. I bought this at Joann Fabric. I had a $25 gift card and I wanted to get something neat. So this was $24.95, I think. So I got it for free. But this is a really good bargain, especially if you didn't take home ec or sewing classes and you need a little help. So I think this is a good place to start. So let's get started working on this dress. Well, once you've pre-shrunk your fabric, you've got to cut out a pattern. And a lot of times when people tell me they want to make a dress, they start out with, where do you get a pattern? Well, I have an advantage is that I've been making these for a long time, so I might start with one dress, and over time the patterns evolve and I make them. These are what my patterns look like. They're just regular envelopes, and each dress I make, I made one for Evangeline. She's 2.5, and I write on it turquoise and black. And I remember now when I make my new dress, I'll just get this one out and make some alterations to make it bigger. Each of these are how I do my patterns. I've made them myself. But you can go to the store and find a pattern sort of like this one. The one thing you want to look for is one that's fitted down to the waist. Now, it might take you a little few starts to get this going. The first time through, you could make up the dress with some cheap fabric, and I would recommend something like just a plain one color fabric without any print on it. Make the dress, put it on your daughter, and then look at it and take a marker and then draw on it the changes you want to make. So that would be called your fitting bodice. And I would say I'd make one like that. If you don't have a good pattern to start with, don't use your really nice fabric that you're going to make the dress from, or you'll be frustrated. So if you could start with just a regular dress pattern and something that's fitted, and then you're going to make just a skirt, that might be a good start. Now, if you're working for an adult, you can find some costume patterns, like this is a butterick one. I think they're called History. Now, this one's a little different. It's got a drop waist that points down and a little different, but it could maybe get you started with a fitted bodice anyway. And then, I don't know where my sister got this, but you maybe could order this. This is called the Dirndl Review, and this is an older copy, 2004, but it has awesome ideas, but it's got patterns in it too for dirndls. These are not really easy to use. You definitely have to take your time. The patterns are each overlaid on top of each other. You have to spot your pattern and put some tracing paper on and trace it. It can be done, and I've made a few things out of here, but if you could get a Dirndl Review, I think you could go online and look this up and maybe order one of these. It's got awesome ideas. And then there's some old patterns floating around. Here's an old Berta pattern. You can see by how short it is. This is not something we would find nowadays. It's an old pattern, but I have made dresses from this because the human body hasn't really changed. Maybe the length has, but this is a really nice pattern too. And then Simplicity had some old ones like that. That's what you need to start with. But if you don't have a store-bought pattern, you could start with one of your dresses that your daughter already wears or that you already wear that fits pretty tight, and you could put some pins on it and then lay it down and make a pattern off of that. And that's where I did my first few dresses. I just used something that fit, and that's a good place to start. Now, the dress I'm making for my granddaughter Reese is going to be a little bit bigger than this one. This one fits her, but it's a little bit short in the waist, and it's a little bit narrow in the shoulders, and she needs a little more room in the tummy. So I'm going to start with this dress. So what I did was I took my old pattern that I had from last year, and I have them all in a little box together. This is called Reese Black Snowflake 2011 Dress and Blouse. So I take this pattern out, and to start working with it, you might want to take an iron without any steam and iron all your pattern pieces out flat so that they don't have any wrinkles, otherwise things get off a little. And it's amazing when you have a pattern, every time that you make a little mistake around the waist, if let's say that every time you do it a 1/4 inch there's a mistake here and here and here and here, it adds up to inches of difference. So be really careful with your seam allowances, and if you see that your pattern has 5/8 inch seam allowances, that's what you need to really sew on. If it says 1/2 inch, because mine are usually 1/2 inch, that's what I usually sew on. Another thing about your fabric, when I buy my fabric, I make sure I buy quite a bit extra, and the reason being that down the road sometimes something happens to the dresses, and I've had a few times where there's a rip. One time I jumped off of a bleacher at Oktoberfest and I caught the back of my dress on the metal edge of the bleacher, and it ripped open, and so I came home and I found the fabric from that dress and I was able to make a patch. It never showed because there's a lot of folds in there and it didn't show. And so you don't want to just throw away your scraps, because you never know when you're going to need some. So buying a little extra fabric at the time is a real good idea, because sometimes down the road you might jump off of a bleacher and rip your dress. So that's my advice about that. If you have the time to make a new pattern as you grow or as your daughter grows, if you can make a pattern off of something you already have, that is a place where you're really going to save money, because patterns are expensive, and if you buy a new one each time, it'll really add up. But for the cost of a roll of paper, which I get from the medical supply places, for the cost of a roll of paper and a little bit of your time, you can have a pattern that fits you perfectly, and you can use it for the next dress that you might make. Because once you get a dirndl, you're going to want to make another one and another one. And we grow or we shrink through the years, and so do our kids, or especially do our kids. And you just need to be able to have a pattern that you can change and not have to keep buying a new one. So I'd recommend, if you want to save some money, that's a good place, is making your own patterns. You might have to get some markers and start doing that. Well, I'm going to end this video here, but I want you to tune in to part 2 of making Reese's dress so that you can learn how to make your pattern fit. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.